clicking until you can't click anymore. And if I'm still clicking, that probably means you can click as well. So keep clicking until it turns red. You're clicking, and what is that doing? That's letting people know where to go, where to come. Because I just turned red, which means I can't click anymore. And then on the side, I see Crin. Cynthia said hello. Hey, I'm going to say it in that chat over there. So as we get started, guys, hi there, Shaza B, welcome. Hello, Sharon, welcome. Hi there, Eugenia. You see what happens when you share the room out in the hallways? Today, how to use depression in your favor. I'm super excited about this topic because when it comes to health and wellness, we all go through, in my opinion, some depression, some sadness sometimes. You're in the Fit, Healthy, and Blessed Club. When you come into this club, guys, we're going to give you all sorts of motivation to get you motivated about life. And motivation is great, but it doesn't always last that long. We have to go a little bit deeper, right? And that's when the inspiration comes in. And we all have goals and we all have dreams that we want to aspire, but you have to dig deep. Like your goal may be to speak on stages. It may be to do a TEDx talk. It may be to write a book. It may be to do a marathon. What is that goal that you want? And then we're going to inspire you to do that. And sometimes things hold you back, right? Like sadness, like maybe depression, like maybe anxiety. These are things that are real. So that's where we come in and we give you the tools, the skills, and the strategies to overcome or at least begin the journey. Because I believe, I don't suffer from depression, but I have been depressed. But I think it's a journey, kind of like the health and wellness journey. You have our ups, you have your downs. So I do want to say good morning, Eugenia. Good morning, Riza, Shaza. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. Sharon and Crin, Cynthia. As we get started here, guys, we're going to start with our intros. And our intros are just a little bit about ourselves. And like I said, we have a special guest today. Super excited about our special guest. I am Stars Tina. I am a mind and body transformation coach. And what does that mean? That means God has given me all sorts of trauma and tragedies, guys, let me tell you. And I decided I'm not going to be a culprit for all the stuff that I've been through. I'm going to manifest everything. Can we put the YouTube channel at the top really quick first before we get started? Guys, if that's okay. I'm loving your picture up there, Kathy. I'm a mind and body transformation coach, and I use all the things that have happened to me in my life to teach and train other clients. I run an online fitness boutique studio. We do this room to up, motivate, and transform lives. I'm going to throw the microphone over to Carmel, and then we'll go ahead and get started. This room is just for 1 hour, guys. So make sure you get your questions ready. If you have them, write them there. This room is actually brought to you guys by Fitness on Fire. Fitness on Fire. I don't want the website. I want the YouTube. Fitness on Fire is a community of women that work together to help with accountability to build their future. So I'm going to stop talking and throw it over to you, Carmel. Hit it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm in all other kinds of screens. I'm trying to get the YouTube up there. Renee, if you do me a favor and... Okay, awesome. Hello, everybody. Hello. It is Saturday. It is beautiful here in New York, wherever it is that you're calling from. So we do appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with us for an hour. So like Tina said, this is the Fit, Healthy, and Blessed Club. And Fitness on Fire, which Tina or Renee is about to pin on the top. That's where we're coming to you from. Fitness on Fire. Tina and I recently teamed up together, and she and I were pretty much speaking the same language. I am on a mission to change lives. So we work with women over 40 and a few of them under, and we work with some of the dudes too, but primarily women over 40. And what we do is we encourage and support them on their health and fitness and health, wellness, like nutrition journey. And we do that by way of really focusing and emphasizing on the mindset, fitness, and the mindset, movement, and nutrition. So yes, our YouTube channel is, that's on top right there because we are streaming live, which is what I wanted to tell everybody. We are streaming live on YouTube, and we would really appreciate it if you tapped in, subscribe, like, comment, share, all the things that we usually ask for. I see Jude Michelle is watching us over on our YouTube channel. Hey, Jude. Yes. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, everybody here in the audience for joining us and to talk about this very serious topic. This topic is about depression. More people than we think actually suffer from this debilitating disease or condition, right? And what's happening is that since the pandemic, a new light has been shed on mental illness and what we go through as human beings. And so it's actually hit a spotlight on depression, which is a good thing, because now that we know and we begin to understand it, we can begin to address it and not look at people who suffer with this as different or as bad or doesn't conform, or they're just in a mood. And it's so common that people think that depression is just a mood. It's actually a condition. So here I have my twin sister who's going to shed some light about this condition and about how she's come to battle it and triumph. But she wants to also emphasize that it's not a one-time battle and one-time win. It's a continued thing. So she's going to definitely say it better than I ever will or I ever could. So I'm going to leave her to it. This is Kathy Jean-Francois. She's out of the New York City area. She's here to enlighten us, educate us. And also we would like to make this very much a discussion. So anybody who wants to chime in on the topic could definitely raise their hand. And at some point, we'll we'll bring you up on stage to join in the discussion. So Kathy, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do appreciate you being here with us and being so vulnerable to talk about this and even your endeavors and what it is that you do to battle this this depression. So Kathy, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you, Stars, Tina, and Carmel, for allowing me to, use your stage so that I can talk about this thing that has been plaguing me for years. Even when I was very, very young, I'm going to say it started about when I was 12 years old. I think I was about in the 6th grade. I just started, feeling like no one understood me. I was always sad. I was always crying about something. Something always bothered me. I was always just like enormously sad. That's even a word. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand myself. I didn't understand what I was going through. So it was very hard for me to talk to anybody about it. And therefore I kept it to myself. And when you do something like that, it tends to get worse throughout the years. And at the time, when I first started suffering with this, I wasn't really sure how it happened. I have a sense now of where my depression derived, and that's a different topic for a different time. But in dealing with this depression, for many, many years, I just didn't know what to do to combat it. I don't think I ever really tried. This was just the way that I was. And I did seek therapy at one point in my early 20s, but that didn't take for a very long time due to other reasons, me leaving my job and not having insurance for a while. But so in thinking about depression, right, we know for the most part that it can be a chemical imbalance in the brain, or depression can arrive due to some stressful, horrific event in your life. And it's normal. It's very normal for people to go through a depressive state when something horrific or traumatic happens to them or someone that they know. What is not normal is that you stay in that continued state of depression. And if you find yourself 2-3 months later still in a state of depression, you need to seek help. And I think that seeking help by way of talk therapy is one of the most effective ways to deal with it, but there are other ways that you can. Oh, I do want to stress also that many people do seek medication, such as Zoloft or Lexapro, which I used to be on, but it's not for everybody, and I personally don't want to rely on drugs in order to make myself feel better. And I happened to discover a number of things that I started to do that helped me battle the depression on a daily basis, and helped me get out of my debilitating state where I didn't do anything, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't be productive, and to start being productive, to start being able to talk to people and go out and have a good time. Because depression is really a time stealer in that sense, that you feel so tired all the time. You can't get out of bed. And in order to combat that, it's so easy to say, yeah, just get out of bed and move your body, do something. But for the depressive who feels that they have absolutely no energy to get out of bed, it can be quite the challenge. So there were a few things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to what depression can do for you. And believe it or not, even though depression is something that is horrific, and for people who don't understand, who've never experienced a depressive episode or for a number of months, but for a number of time, and people may say, oh, why don't you just get over it? Just get up and go out there and enjoy the world and get over it. It's not that easy, and it's not that simple. It really isn't. However, there is a certain mindset that you need to have in order to be able to try to combat the depression that you're dealing with. One of the things that I did was, thank goodness, I had the support of my sister, Carmel Gay, and my cousins, Marie Louise and Marie Jude. And I had my tribe, my small tribe of these women who, from time to time, would help me really think about what's going on, why you're thinking the way that you do, why are you feeling so down. I had them with me to always challenge me. I didn't always like it. If they asked me, well, what happened today that you're feeling like this? I didn't want to talk about it, and I got annoyed, and I was very annoyed talking about it. And even with my therapist today, every time she challenges me on something that I have one really small perspective on, and I'm not looking further into trying to open my mind, she challenges me, and it makes me angry and it annoys me. But by the end of that conversation with my cousins and my sister, and by the end of that conversation with my therapist, I'm able to look at the other side and be like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with this. And so in other words, you have to go through that tough time. You have to go through that darkness in order to get to that light. And oh wow, I'm thinking about Stars Tina at this time, because earlier this week she was talking about getting through the darkness to get through the light. And that's really what you have to do. And it's not the same prescription for everyone. And the reason why I use prescriptions is because I feel like I've used a number of different things in order to guide me out of my depression. And one of those things was exercise. And thanks to my twin, Carmel, once again, look, when we started going to the Twins Festival every August, and we made sure that we needed to look alike because we are maternal twins. She's like, look, I'm going to be working out and looking good, and you're going to be the fat twin. And I was just like, oh, man, do I really have to exercise? I didn't. I wanted no part of it. But my sister offered me something, and I had the time to do it because I was working a job where I started at 11. So she was like, let's get up early every morning. Let's work out together. Different exercises, P90X, all that. And we did it together. And if it were not for her, I would not get up early every morning in order to work out. I just wouldn't. So those of you who feel that you have some type of depression, that you cannot look beyond it, I urge you to find that one person who will not snap you out of it, but who will be by your side and give you that tough love that you will need. You will need it, because as a depressive person, you don't want to hear what anybody else has to say. You're all in your head. People may say, oh, you may be suffering right now, but think about the brighter side. Think about the people who are suffering more. Think about this. You have a job, so you should be happy about that. You have kids, so you should be. No, it doesn't have really anything to do with that. And just because you're depressed doesn't mean that you don't appreciate the other things that are in your life. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean that boo-hoo me, I don't have a job and therefore I'm like the worst person in the world. No, being depressed sometimes is a condition where you can't even explain it for yourself. You don't know where it's coming from. Therefore, it's hard to really, really tackle or battle that depression. That's why you need somebody who will be up in your face. That's why you need somebody who will challenge you to go to that dark place that you would not willingly go through. You know how when you're exercising, right? And then your legs start to burn because you've done so many leg races or whatever. And then you want to stop, but then that trainer is yelling in your ear, only 5 more. When you do 5 more, only 2 more. When you do 2 more, you would not push yourself to go further. You won't, because the human condition is like, well, no, natural human nature. Like, I'm not gonna make myself struggle when I don't need to, when I can stop right now. So that's why you need somebody to push you through that darkness. And okay, so I've already said all that. So one of the things that I did was start to exercise with my sister. And you guys, I didn't even know then that it was positively affecting my mindset. It was giving me all the endorphins, all that I needed in my mind to help combat that depression. But exercise wasn't the only thing that was working for me. I also started doing, and look, this is all courtesy, especially to my sister, my cousin Jude, and my cousin Marie Louise, when we all started doing these accountability meetings, and we would meet with each other and send each other positive motivational speeches and YouTube videos and all that. And little by little, all that I was doing with them, talking about my goals, talking about how I could complete my goals, how I could achieve them. All of that, little by little, it helped me go into a more positive mindset. I didn't even realize that this was helping me. And then my sister started meditating, and I was like, oh, I tried meditating a few times. That doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because if you do it once or twice, nothing is going to happen. But you have to keep meditating in order for your mindset to change, your belief to change, your inner core of what you believe in can change. And so I started exercising, I started listening to motivational videos, I started meditating, and all of a sudden, all of these things were a cocktail that came together for me to finally understand that it wasn't just one thing that could help me battle this depression, but it was a number of things too. And also, I do want to say that at the time, I started writing what would turn into the novel that I just finished completing. It's about a woman who is suffering with depression and how she's allowed that to really affect her life and the people that she has, that surrounds her in her life. And I didn't even realize it then, but I was taking all the feelings that I felt in my most depressive state, and I was taking that and I was putting it into my writing. And little did I know that was also helping me to overcome the depression that I was dealing with on a daily basis. So I urge you, anyone who's depressed out there, even if you don't want to exercise or go out and enjoy the weather, because nature is a beautiful thing too, that can help clear your mind as well. Do that one thing that you feel like you cannot live without, right? Do that thing that you feel is that you, what am I trying to say? That inspires you. Go ahead, sister.
Okay, that inspires you. Which kind of...
we can't hear you.
Oh, why not? Oh, there I go. Yes. Which I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that kind of brings us back around to the topic of the room, how to use depression in your favor, right?
Yes. So
you're talking about, you're writing now, you're exercising, and to Shazaya, I hope I'm saying that right. To Shazaya's point, she's in the side chat. And I noticed a couple of minutes ago, she wrote, sorry, but if I misunderstood the title, sorry. She said, sorry if I've misunderstood the title, but does it mean that there is an upside to depression, that there are ways to use it in your favor? So reframing how depression is understood and flipping the paradigm for how it is usually seen. I love how you phrase that, Shazaya. And I think, Kathy, you have an answer for that because we were discussing it earlier. So to answer Shazaya, would you like to answer Shazaya's question?
Yes. Thank you for bringing me back on track here. All right. So there are a number of things that with depression can help you in certain areas of your life, right? So one of the depressives' main MO really is to stay in their head, right? So let me use myself as an example. I stay in my head, right? I start thinking negatively about something, and because of the depression, I let it spiral down into something huge. But the depression is actually a tool that you can use for self-reflection, right? Something that is troubling you, something that for some reason you cannot let go. Something happened today at work that for anybody else would be like, okay, well, it happened. But for you, you're just harping on it. You keep thinking about it. Well, this is a really great opportunity for you to be like, okay, well, why am I harping on this? Why am I thinking about this so much? Why is it still in my head? And if something happened that you did not feel comfortable with, so maybe you said something to somebody that you did not like, you did not appreciate, you didn't think that other people appreciated. Maybe now you have to think about, well, why did I do this? What is it about my personality, or what is it about my past, or what I've dealt with, or my history with this that I did this thing, that I said this thing, right? So that's one way that you can think of depression as helping you in terms of self-reflection. Another way is finding new habits. So as a depressive, right, you maybe you like to do, I don't know, play ball of a certain kind, or hang out with your friends, but now as a depressive, you're just not feeling that anymore. Well, now is the time to think about, well, if I'm not feeling that anymore, well, what can I do for me right now that'll help me through this state? And that's where I can come talk about the writing or any of creative talents that you might have, right? There's some people who put their feelings out on in drawing, by drawing, by dancing, creating music, any of that. Use that your ability, your natural talent, in order to channel in, hone in on this depressive feeling that you have. With me, it was my writing. I took all those feelings that I was feeling and I put it right into my book. Every time I read it, I keep reading it. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is how I used to feel. Right? But then when I get into my depressive states again, I remember that this is how I felt, right? Also, build up coping skills. It helps you build coping skills because let's think about it. Again, you have this idea that maybe something happened at work, or something happened with your kids, or something that you didn't really like, and that you thought about, well, what if I did it differently? Well, here are your coping skills. How will I approach this particular scenario differently the next time it comes around? So now you know how to cope with this particular scenario or a scenario similar to it. It helps you increase compassion and empathy for others. And perhaps for yourself too. Give yourself grace. I have to consistently give myself grace when I get into my depressive episodes. I have to continuously think about what other people might be feeling. If I said something to them that was hurtful, if I did or didn't do something to them that was hurtful, why would they take offense to it? How would I respond if they told me that they took offense to it? It helps me build compassion, and it helps me build empathy for other people and what they're going through. And it helps you also, depression also helps you to reevaluate your priorities. Think about it. You're in a depressive state. You don't know what to do. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe you've lost a significant other in some way, shape, or form. Well, now what is it that you have to do to get back out there? What is it that you have to do to build yourself up? And so when you think about the things that you have to do to build yourself up, that helps you to reevaluate your priorities. So that's my list of things. At this time, does anybody want to share anything?
I would like to jump in for a real quick second. I want to I've invited some people up. Thank you, Shazaya, for joining us. Crescentia, you're here. Thank you. And I would like to say hello to a few people in the room. This is the Fit, Healthy, and Blessed Club. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about depression today. And yes, we are a fitness group. We're at Fitness on Fire. You'll see our link up on top because currently, as we're speaking now, we're streaming this on YouTube. And we would invite you to take a look at our YouTube channel, subscribe, comment, like, share, all the things that we would appreciate if you did for us. We're not asking for any money here, just digital currency. We want to grow, and we could only do that with your help. So thank you again for being here. We're joined by Kathy. So Tina and I make up Fitness on Fire. Kathy is my twin sister. Kathy's been suffering with depression for a good amount of years now. And it's nothing that she fixes like long term. It's something that she's constantly dealing with. And that's what Kathy's talking about this morning. Kathy's talking about how to take your depressive state and let it drive you to your creativity and use your creativity to help cope, to help battle, to help deal with what it is that you're going through as a depressive. Kathy also says that, you know, it's not only these things that will help you. It might be a cocktail. She uses the word cocktail. I'm all for a good cocktail. So she uses the word cocktail of things that will help support your journey. So with that said, a few people have come onto the stage. I want to start with you, Crescentia. Did you have anything that you wanted to share or ask of Kathy? If not, that's okay, but go ahead.
I was over here literally, Kathy, jumping out of my seat because you was literally describing how I feel when I get in my depression mood. And I thought that part of depression of 1 minute you want to go somewhere, the next you just don't want to go, or I didn't, and it related that part to the depression. I just thought maybe it was just a feeling that I was getting. And a lot of people don't understand when you do suffer from it. They would, that scenario use, oh yeah, you know what? But yeah, somebody else is over here suffering a little bit worse than you, so you should feel good. But they don't understand, they don't get that part of the person that's suffering from depression. It's not like we can't sympathize with what somebody else is going through, but at that moment, you're just going through something within you and you just can't at times get it completely out or express it the way that you want to express it so that next person can understand it. So sometimes you just choose not to even say anything. You just go, yeah, okay, and just leave it alone because you don't want to make the situation bigger than what it needs to be. But I'm so happy that I made it here to hear that, because now I know that other part of it is a part of the depression, and I know how to deal with it accordingly. And then also, what also helped me with the depression is exercising as well. And I notice now when I exercise and I thoughts start coming through my head or thinking I can't do something, I notice I start to zone out and I can push myself a little bit further to get those negative feelings and thought out of me. Do it work all the time? No. Sometimes I can feel a little bit better and sometimes I can feel a little bit worse. But at least I know I can push myself through it and gain another tool in my tool belt to handle those type of feelings. So I just want to say, yeah, thank you for saying that. And therapy does help. Oh, does it help? Thank you.
You're welcome, Cynthia. I'm so happy that you took some value out of what I said. I want to also say really quickly, when you said like when you're working out and you just don't feel like you can do it, but working out is not an easy thing to do. So when you do succeed in it, it makes you feel good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself, you get a little bit out of the depression, right? So I think that's perfect. It's perfect how you explained it before. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Yes. And it's about finding the tools that work for you, right, Crescentia? Because you're like, I have that in my tool belt. And it's about having those tools available to you. So when you need something, that one thing, today it might not be exercise. Today it might be therapy. Today it might be using my creative outlet. And then, or maybe tomorrow it'll be exercise. But having those tools in your tool belt, knowing that there's something you could reach out to in order to get you out of that dark hole. So thank you for that, Crescentia. Thanks, Kathy. Shazaya, we heard from you earlier through the side chat and I read your question. Do you have anything that you wanted to come back with, ask further, contribute to the conversation? The mic is yours if you're interested in talking on the topic.
Hi, thanks for passing the mic on to me. So it's pronounced Shazia, but it's okay, you can call me Shaz if that's easier. It's okay, you can get back to me Yeah, I'm just formulating some questions or in the middle of processing some of the things that were said. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Shaz. You said it was okay to call you Shaz, right? Thanks for joining our stage, and thanks everybody for being here. Now you see that little box at the bottom with the arrow pointing up that says 10. If you could just share this room out. This is such an important topic. Now we're only here for 28 more minutes, yes, but these last 28 minutes, you might ping somebody in here, and they might hear something that they had to hear in order to help carry them through. So go ahead and share the room out if you would. Be so kind. Share the room out into the clubhouse streets, or ping somebody into the room so that they could hear this information. Thanks again for joining us. So with that, I would like to pass the mic to Marvin. If there was anything you wanted to contribute to the conversation, ask a question, tell a story, whatever it is. So go ahead, Marvin. If you are able to unmic, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just joined. I'm actually just listening. Nothing much to contribute at this time, but I find the information regarding depression is very useful and very, very timely.
Very, very timely is so right. Again, there's so much attention being given to mental illness recently on the heels of the pandemic, and it actually opened up the eyes of a lot of people. And so when it comes to, now I want to just promote Kathy for a second. Kathy is an aspiring writer. She's been writing for many years. She's published in certain anthologies, but what she's working on now is a novel. And she's been able to have some people around her to empower her to take the next step to get it published, because it is completed. Now it's about getting it into the publisher's hands. And so Kathy's working on that currently. And Kathy also has a blog. It's called, Kathy, I'm going to let you talk about your blog, and I'm very proud of it, and I know you are too. And again, very time.
The blog, can I ask you a quick question?
Go for it.
We love the Kathy. We definitely want to shine down on her, but I have a question for you, Kathy. So it's mostly for children. I have a really deep spot in my heart for children. And I've noticed, I guess over the past few years, there was like, I don't know what pageant, but like you see where there's like the Miss America, there's these women, and looking at them on social media, it's like, oh, they have a wonderful life, and then they kill themselves. Do you think that's part of depression? Is there anything we can do for the children to support them before they get to that steps, or is this just too deep of a conversation? Can you give us any input on that?
So let me clarify this. Children who are in beauty pageants, you're saying, or?
No, that was just an example. Okay. So there was a girl, she was like Miss America or something, and there was like this fitness person, like these people, you see them on social media and you see their pages, like, oh my gosh, their life is so wonderful, they're so perfect, they're so happy. And then next thing you know, they kill themselves and they say, oh, well, they were depressed, and no one ever sees it. Do outside people see the depression in these people? And if so, if there's a way that we can support them.
Okay. So a lot of people, when I tell them that I suffer with depression, they're like, oh, no way. You always look so happy. And I remember one time I wrote on Facebook, being completely transparent, oh, I feel blue. And somebody wrote back to me, you're too pretty to be blue. And I think that there's a misconception when somebody seems or appears to be having a really great life. They have all these wonderful things that's happening to them, and they show it on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and every place. We don't really know who they are. We don't know what they're going through. They're putting this stuff so they could show how, so their lives can appear to be wonderful, great. And we don't know that behind the scenes they're suffering, and we're not going to ask them because everything seems completely and totally fine with them. Now, it's hard to pinpoint who is actually putting up a front on social media as opposed to the people who really are quite happy in their lives. It's hard to say who is, but the thing is, we have to understand that behind all this hoopla, behind all these social media pages, there's a real person there who goes through really emotions, real life that we may never know. So kindness is always something to start off with. Always be kind to anyone that you come across, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're struggling with in their personal lives, right? And you may be that one person that puts a smile on their face, or that helps them through something that they were struggling with. So giving somebody kindness for no apparent reason than the fact that they're another human being, that's a good thing. That's a good way to go. A lot of people like to hide behind their computer screens and write nasty comments on people's blog posts and Instagram posts and stuff like that. Why? I mean, if they're doing something they're happy with and they posted it on, leave it alone. Just go your own way. If you don't like something, just leave it alone. Why write something nasty? That just shows something nasty about you, right? And all I can say is that I think when we look at people who apparently seem to make it big, who apparently seem to have happy lives, again, it doesn't mean that they are having a happy life. I don't know how to reach out to people like that if they're not very happy in their personal lives. I really don't know anything beyond that except to give each other grace and just be nice to each other, because there's actually no reason for us to be mean to each other other than the fact that we ourselves are hurting in some way and we want to hurt others in the same way.
I think I think you, I'm sorry, Tina, did you have anything to come back with that? Did Kathy answer your question?
She did, and it's so crazy because it's so simple. It's just
so simple.
Just be kind to one another. I know that's Renee's little thing. So thank you so much for that, Kathy, because like you said, we don't know. And most people think, oh, you're depressed. Like, no, I'm just sad. Would you say there's a difference between being sad and depressed? That's
Yeah, everyone gets sad. Everyone. And not everyone gets depressed though. Right? There are people who get depressed for a certain period of time, like I think you mentioned, Tina. But then there are those people who apparently just seem to have a good life. That Robin Williams, he killed himself. He was suffering with depression for years and nobody knew it until he killed himself. We just don't know.
So you made a good point, so we don't know, and be kind. And also, I feel like you're doing a lot by actually being as transparent as you are and being as vulnerable as you are, and letting the public know, letting your people, your friends and family know, hey, this is what I'm going through. And this is what I have been going through for a certain amount of decades. And it's something that you continue to deal with. So before this Clubhouse room, Kathy and I were talking about words, and I told Kathy, I said, Kathy, do you want to say how you're dealing with depression? Because I didn't want to use the word battle, right? Battle sounds like I have to put on armor and I have to go fight something. And that fight sounds so rough. And Kathy's like, no, I want battle. Now, Kathy, we didn't discuss this, you and I, but why did you opt to choose the word battle as opposed to just simply dealing with? I know dealing with, those two words made me feel more comfortable. The second you said, no, battle, I felt like, oh, that's such a hard word because now we're fighting something. So can you tell me what the difference in the two words are, or the two phrases or ways to describe it?
It's interesting. Battle as opposed to dealing with. Dealing with, you deal with somebody's attitude, you deal with something. I don't know, with battling, I like what you said, like battling sounds like you have to put on armor to fight something. I feel like that's what I'm doing every day. Every time I walk out the house and I'm not feeling good, I'm a teacher, right? So I can't go in front of the classroom in front of the students with my depressive state. I have to put on a show. That's my armor. So I put on a show on a daily basis for people, and then I come home and I retreat to the depressed person that I am, right? Putting on that armor is, to me, is equivalent to doing the meditations that I do. It's equivalent to exercising. And when I exercise, I understand what I'm doing. Not only am I helping my body, but I am really helping myself feel good about myself. And that makes me feel good out of the depression, right? I'm very mentally aware of that. I write, and I know that when I write, I am at my happiest. So I continue to do that. So yeah, it's very much about it. All these things are my pieces of armor that I just mentioned. all of them are pieces of armor. Every single day I have to do this because if I don't do one or the other, I haven't been writing as much as I wanted to this summer. My goal was to write one blog post a week for my depressing, my Kathy's Cross blog. I couldn't do it. I was just in too much in my head. And I'm like thinking, I have the summer off because I'm a teacher. I should be able to knock out at least 2 blog posts a week. I couldn't this summer. There was something keeping me back. And I still, all summer, I'm just trying to think about, like, what is it that's keeping me back? Why am I not writing? And I realize I'm a little distracted too, because I have a whole bunch of things that I'm thinking about too. But you guys, so because I wasn't writing, it was just like a downward spiral. I wasn't writing, so I was feeling a little bit more depressed. The more depressed, the less writing I was doing. I mean, it is a battle every single day. I found the things that work for me. Those of you who are depressed out there, you have to find what's right for you. Try a little bit of something like I did, right? I used my depressive state to try meditating. I used my depressive state to try exercising. I used that state in order to try listening to positive motivational videos. I used it. I used the depression in my favor.
And
Kathy, question for you. Where does anxiety fall in regards to depression?
Oh, yes.
great question.
Okay, so I just recently learned that anxiety and depression usually go together. And this is through reading about other people and their depression and anxiety. Where does anxiety fall into it? When you are in a depressive state and you start thinking about the things that you need to do, or the things that I keep saying you start doing this. It's very subjective, right? This is what I have experienced. My anxiety stems from me always needing to be by myself. And the more I'm by myself, the more in my head I am, right? But I always need to be by myself. I'm an introvert, but that doesn't mean anything necessarily about, that doesn't really necessarily connect with my depression. However, I am an introvert, so I prefer to stay at home. But sometimes when, especially when I was single, I knew I had the summers off. People would be like, "Oh, what are you expecting to do this summer?" And I would make up this lie that I'm going to go to Manhattan, I'm going to go to museums, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, knowing damn well that I wouldn't. My anxiety was in the fact that I needed to stay home. Anytime I wanted to step out the house or thought, okay, I'm going to go out today to the park, I'm just going to walk around, I couldn't do it. I had this anxiety that people would see me as a loser, or once I get out there, I wouldn't know what to do, or what if somebody tried to talk to me, what would I say to them? I'd sound stupid. And I can't explain why, because this anxiety doesn't make sense. That's what anxiety is. It just doesn't make sense, right? If I go to a party with somebody, and like if I go to a party with my husband, and it's all people that he knows, and then he leaves me alone, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? I don't know anybody here. Why is he doing this to me? I get angry and I get anxious, and I'm like, I don't want to be here right now. I didn't want to be here. I only came here because of him. And that anxiety just helps me to further cave into myself, and then bam, there goes my depression again. And I just want to be alone, and I am angry, and I don't want to talk to anybody. And it's something that I can't really explain. It's just that that's how I feel. That anxiety just traps me. And a lot of people suffer with it too.
Wow. Tina, did you have anything else to say about that?
Nope, she explained it a lot. Do you think, excuse me, do you think anxiety can lead to depression? Like, you may not be depressed, but if you just keep getting anxiety a lot, you might get depressed. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not really sure of that answer. And my research hasn't gone that far. Like I said, I just recently learned that anxiety and depression go hand in hand. I don't know if the anxiety causes depression, or if depression causes anxiety, or if they come up together. I just don't know. In my case, I think in my case, the depression caused my anxiety. I don't know, you guys.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, exactly.
You were so cute. I love it. She's like, I don't know why.
And so, Tina, and that's a great question. I'm glad I was able to say that I don't know, because that's where my next research is going. I'm gonna look more into that, how anxiety and depression are actually interrelated.
I love that. So Tina asked a question the other day, how do we help people who might be in this state? And I think I might be able to answer it to a certain extent, right? So before my sister and I even realized what was happening with her, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, my sister's so annoying. She's always upset about something. She's always crying about something. And we were young. We were a preteen, right, sis?
Yeah.
Very much preteen. So to me, it was just, she was just being difficult. We didn't understand it. Mental illness is not something that people spoke about. And my mother never really questioned my sister's a state of sadness or anger whenever she was expressing sadness or anger. So it was not, we didn't know. And I certainly didn't know. I thought my sister was just being difficult or maybe, I don't know. We're twins, right? Attention seeking. Yes, because we're twins. So twins are always compared. And so here it is. Oh, Carmel's always smiling and Carmel's always happy. And Kathy's always angry. Kathy's the angry one. Remember, they used to call you the little, like, you know, Chihuahuas have this, like, they're little dogs, but they have this big bark. Or not a big bark, but they're always like, they're very aggressive. And my sister was always a little smaller than me. So they would just kind of say, she's the small one, but she's the one who's always angry and she wants to come at you. And all of that couldn't have helped. In fact, it might have even perpetuated the situation. But once I started realizing what was happening, and we were very much adults by then, we were probably late 20s. And that's when I was just like, you need help. Like, this is not normal. And my sister would brush it off to the point where one day I can't even remember what happened, but that was, for me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I sat down at the computer and I started doing some research for some therapy. I knew I could not help you. I knew that if you had help, something, that things would change around, because she was always just so sad and so angry. I remember her being very, very angry. And it was towards me, but it wasn't about me. But at the time, I didn't feel like it. I felt like I could not come home and celebrate anything, because if I accomplished anything and I came home to celebrate it, my sister would just fall down this sadness hole. And it wasn't fair for her to have to hear something that she probably did not know how to deal with. And it wasn't fair for me, who couldn't enjoy her life or sharing it with the people that was closest to her, because I was afraid that somebody else might not be able to take the news. So once we figured it out, and once she started therapy, and once she started on her medication and exercising and getting better, I was more equipped. I started learning more about the condition. And I became more equipped with how to help her, when to give her space, to remember to be kind all the time, to remember that all the time she might not have needed my advice at all, and maybe sometimes not even need my consolation, and she just probably needed to just be by herself for now, because there was nothing I can do. So sometimes, Tina, to answer your question, sometimes there's nothing you can do, but just be there. Just give her space. Just give that person space. And other times I find that when my sister does need something, I've given her space, she will come back and say, hey, listen, this is what I was thinking of, or this is what I was going through. Or she'll find a way to incorporate it into a conversation, because when she's ready, and that's so important, when she's ready to discuss it, that's when it's going to happen. And that's when it's time for us to remember to be kind, and give space, and don't jump to conclusions, and don't interrupt the thought. And even if you do interrupt the thought, I often, I don't know if you realize, sister, but every time I come back with a thought to counter you, I kind of give a reason why I'm saying that, so that you do not feel attacked. Because I know in the past that it could come across that way too. Like, why you're doing this wrong, because this is what I say and it's right. And then all of a sudden it's kind of like you shut down. So then I have to kind of like say, well, the only reason why I'm saying this is because of X, Y, Z. So it's helped me speak to people without assuming that they can just take what I say as just a suggestion. But I'm like, okay, no, the reason why I'm saying this is because X, Y, Z, not because I think that you're wrong. So those are a few of the other things. I feel that as a person who's not depressed, but my twin sister is, those are the things that I take into consideration to help support you in your ongoing battle. And I loved what you said about armor. right? Because you said armor, yeah, blocks you from all the outside, and so much, not so much that it keeps you in your depressive state, but it kind of shields you. It shields you. It's a protective armor as well, right? It's not armor just to kind of like go into battle and fight things, because you're not fighting all the time. Sometimes it's just shelter. It's just protective. It's just, if I wear this, nothing else I could get to me. So I love that, sister. And I'm glad I brought that question up, because you and I had not discussed that before. And I put on the top the link to your blog, Kathy's Cross. You want to talk about that? We only have a few minutes left.
I think Renee has a question.
Oh, I am so sorry. Go ahead. Go for it.
You guys kind of hit on what I was going to ask, Kathy. And those are good strategies for people that we know have told us, or we know are depressed. But what do you recommend, Kathy? Because I would think, for the most part, there are two things. One, people aren't going to just walk around telling random people that they're depressed. And then sometimes people don't even know that they're depressed, right? So when would you say, for people who may be listening, is good to do like the strategies that Carmel was just speaking of? Give space, know what to do. Those are people, again, that you know are depressed, but as opposed to you need to act and act now. What are the signs that you look for? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so you asked two things. What can they do, and what are the signs to look for? The depression can look different to different people, right? So I think one of the things, okay, I want to say meditate, right? But I do a lot of guided meditations I use from YouTube. But when I say meditate, like really sit down quietly, think about the things that are making you feel bad. Because sometimes something is gnawing at me, and I just don't know what it is, and I'm just like, something's bothering me. What is it? And I have to sit down really quietly and think about, well, what happened today, and what happened in my life that I'm thinking about, or something. I think that somebody who doesn't really know that they're suffering with depression can probably just sit down for a little while, quiet the mind, think about what's going on in their lives. What is it they're happy about? What is it that they're not so happy about? And take it from there. The signs to look for: if you're always angry about something, somebody walks across the street a funny way and then you get annoyed, like little things like that. Somebody says something to you and you're angry, but they didn't try to provoke you in any way. If you're always angry, if you're always sad, if something is always hurting you, if you always feel like, I'm just feeling blue, and this is a constant, these are the signs to look for that there's probably something else going on. And it's probably a good idea for you to find somebody to talk to. Even though I can confide in my sister for a lot of things, and my husband, they're not therapists, and it's not fair to them to unburden my issues onto them. So that's what my therapist is for. I have no qualms about that.
Another quick question, Kathy. If someone can't afford therapy, because I know it's not covered, any suggestions of what they can do or where they can go?
That's a good question. I had there are some numbers out there that I would have to do research on at this point, because I'm not quite sure. But they can Google it. Like there are people out there who have like an 800 number. They are trained. They're not necessarily therapists, but they're trained counselors. And you can call on the phone, you can tell them who you are, or you don't have to. You can talk to them, unburden yourself to them. They help you through your situation, and then hang up. And it's a completely free service. Like I said, I haven't done my research on it because I haven't needed that, because I have a therapist. But if you do your research, you will be able to find some numbers out there of legitimate companies that have people that are trained counselors that can help you through any issues that you want to talk about.
Thank you. That's so important. I love that question, Tina. And I just wanted to go before we head out of this room, I just wanted to go into the side chat to say that Shazia, she gave us a correct pronunciation of her name, said, yeah, but you can't just say Oh, wait. Thanks for answering and addressing my question. She's just saying thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And she also put up a link for a different perspective to this topic, if you want to check that out. Victoria, she says, I think it's important to understand that social media is social media. It's most people's best foot forward. And yeah, some people get distracted by all the, and they don't understand that that's our best foot forward. We're not going to show when we're depressed, so to speak, right? Eugenia says, yes, I agree with the word battling. I love the term putting on that armor. Yeah, I'm loving it too. Thank you for that, Eugenia. And Eugenia adds, for children, we have to be attentive to both the introverts and extroverts and provide them the space to really talk about their feelings. I love that. Crescentia added, oh my God, that's me. She must have been referring to something that you said. Eugenia said, me too. So with that, Kathy.
Wait a second. Before you end the room, I just want to say, Kathy, thank you so much for being extremely vulnerable, because, I don't know if I could have the guts to actually do it. And I told you, I heard your sister talk about you in my room, and that's how I initially wanted to speak with you, with the exercise, because for me, I use the exercise for my sadness. And this is such a deep topic, and we've just scratched the surface. So I'm hoping maybe we can do this again, maybe make it a regular, I don't know, because I just really feel like it's helped me. And I don't even, I know people, my daughter has anxiety and I don't get it. And I try to help and support her. And I'm just going to hush because we're getting close to the top of the hour. But thank you so much, Kathy.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me. I love this. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on. So I put on the top your link to your blog. Now, I know, do you have anything tangible for people to go to with regards to your book, or it's not there quite yet, or what's going on with that? You want to talk a little bit more about that?
It's not there quite yet, but thank you so much for asking. I started sending my query letter, my synopsis, my bio, everything about the book to different literary agents. So hopefully by this time next year, I'll be talking about where I'll be signing the book. So, yeah.
That's so exciting. Well, thank you. Does anybody else on stage have anything last to say about Kathy before we let the room end? Go ahead.
I just want to give your twin, Miss Kathy, a big yes, because you hit the points and you hit them on target. You didn't go a little off to the left, a little off to the right, but you was right in that center. And I truly, because everything I was feeling, everything that I was thinking, and yes.
I'm so glad that you found value in this, Crescentia. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And everybody, I'm so extremely proud of my sister, because Kathy's worked really hard over the last few years, over the last many years, to come to a place where she can feel comfortable talking about it, feel comfortable in her own skin about it, admit it, talk about it, work through it, and share the information. It's not easy. And I see it. And Kathy, sis, I am so proud of you. You have no clue. Anyway, with that, we're going to let the room go. This is Fit, Healthy, and Blessed. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday. Join us. Hit the little greenhouse on top. Make sure that you follow all our discussions through the week and over the weekends. And join our YouTube channel, The Fitness on Fire Experience on YouTube. Subscribe. We're looking for more subscribers. Like, comment, share. And with that, I'm going to say peace. I'm closing the room in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Done. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And I'm ending the broadcast here. Ciao, ciao, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube.